Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another Pokemon TCG video. We've had a few chances to look at some decks with the brand new set Phantom Forces, and we are going to continue this trend looking at decks that are helped out by this brand new set. Now I just want to start off this video by saying I have no idea if this deck can possibly be competitive again, but the mere thought that it could be after a single item card totally demolished it really makes me happy. And of course, I am talking about Tool Drop. So, Tool Drop does 20 damage for each Pokemon tool attached to each Pokemon in play. And of course, this is a deck that was seen a lot. It was a fun deck. It was never really super competitive. It did win a state championship, but it was never really taken seriously. But it is a ton of fun to play. You play this Trubbish alongside Sigilyph, which has Toolbox. You can have up to 4 tools attached to it. So you just pile the tools on your Sigilyph and go to work. Alright, so that's it. We're going to be attaching a bunch of tools. Now, the reason this deck totally fell off the map completely was Startling Megaphone. Yeah, so what would happen is you would attach like 10 tools to your Pokemon, and you'd be doing 200 damage, and things would be going well, and then they would play one Startling Megaphone, and all of your Pokemon tools go straight to the discard pile, and you lose the game. So, that still does exist, alright? But we've gained a few things that could possibly make Tool Drop viable once again. Number one we're going to look at is Dimension Valley. So, with Dimension Valley in play, if you want to take a look, each Psychic Pokemon's attacks cost 1 less. So if we go over and look at Trubbish, he costs 1 Psychic, 1 Colorless. So now we can Tool Drop, get rid of this Colorless, for 1 Psychic Energy. That's really cool. Think of how much damage we can do for that 1 energy. It is awesome. Dimension Valley, just a super good card. I think it's going to make a lot of cards playable that weren't before. We've already seen it in Night March. We can see it here in Tool Drop as well. There will be lots of opportunities to use this card, I think. So, Dimension Valley makes this a lot better. We lost EXP share in the rotation. That was huge for Tool Drop decks. Now we have a Dimension Valley instead. We don't need to use EXP share. We can just attach an energy and attack right away. Awesome card. The other one, Lysander's Trump card. Okay, so if your opponent does play Startling Megaphone and discard all of your Pokemon tools, we have Lysander's Trump card to shuffle them all back in and have an opportunity to get them back out for a second time. So, it shuffles both players' discard piles back into their decks. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. I don't know if this works, but it is an awesome thing to think about. So, Lysander's Trump card, we're going to be running 2 of those alongside 2 VS Seeker, so we can use them pretty much infinitely. If you VS Seeker for a Lysander's Trump card, the VS Seeker goes back in when you play it, and then you can VS Seeker for it again, and then it goes back in. It's an endless cycle. All right, so the 2 Lysander's Trump cards should be enough for this deck with the 2 VS Seeker to make sure we can find it when we need to. All right. So, we need to use lots of non-supporter draw in this deck to take advantage of the big trump card. So we have maxed out on those cards for Bicycle and then for Roller Skates, just so when we play a trump card, we can Bicycle for cards, we can Roller Skates for cards, and get those tools back out right away. So that's going to be the basic concept here. Of course, we do run a lot of Pokemon tools. For Silver Bangle, I think this is the most important one in the deck. It allows us to hit Pokemon EX for 1-hit knockouts with less tools than we would usually need. Right, so let's say we're facing a 170 HP Pokemon EX. If there are 7 Pokemon tools in play, and one of them is Silver Bangle attached to your Trubbish, that does 170 damage. That's ridiculous. So Silver Bangle is huge in this deck. We're also going to run a Muscle Band, since adding 20 can be big sometimes as well. 4 Floatstone, just nice to give us some free retreat. Get those Pokemon out of the active spot when we need to. 2 Hard Charm. Believe it or not, some things we'll struggle to knock out either Sigilif or Trubbish when we have a hard charm attached. So we got a couple of those. And then we have some other cool ones. We have 2 Headringer. So Headringer, of course, is this new concept from the brand new set. It's a tool you attach to your opponent's Pokemon EX. And Tool Drop counts all tools in play, so it still adds the 20 damage. It's cool for a couple reasons. Number one, it is something you can just put on their Pokemon EX and maybe slow them down a turn. Right? It'll make them pay 1 more energy to attack. And missing just 1 turn of attacking against a Tool Drop deck can be devastating. So it's cool for that reason. Number 2, if your opponent plays a Startling Megaphone, this doesn't get discarded. It's a tool that's going to stay out there, and that is awesome. Number 3, it's just good. The math works out against Garbodor decks. So Garbodor's Garbotoxin, unfortunately, does shut down Toolbox, which means we can only have 1 tool on a Sigilif. But if they have a tool on Garbodor, that means we can have 6 Pokemon in play. All 6 of them have tools, and then they have 1 on Garbodor. So that's 7 tools total. And like I said with the Silver Bangle, we're doing 170. So we can knock out a lot of Pokemon EX even when they have Garbotoxin, and that's awesome to think about. Now, if they have a 180 HP Pokemon, got a private trade, I'll have to go check that out. If they have a 180 HP Pokemon, what do we do? Garbotoxin, what do? We attach a Headringer to their Pokemon, and then we can just Tool Drop for the knockout. So that's the final reason Headringer is so good in this deck. Sorry, I got sidetracked by the trade offer. Really curious. But okay, we're going to look at some other stuff in here. Trubbish, Sigilif, those are the main components here. Lots of Pokemon tools. Dimension Valley, Trump card. Good stuff. All right, so to help out with Trump card as well, we are going to run a 1-1 line of Electrode. Magnetic draw to get 4. We just need ways to draw cards after the Lysander's Trump card that are not supporter cards, because we have to wait till next turn to do that. So a 1-1 line of Electrode helps us out a little bit. And alright, the other thing that really shuts this deck down hard is Seismitoad EX. Alright, Quaking Punch stops item cards from being played. And that means, well, that's like half our deck. Yeah, that's a lot of our deck. Item cards we just won't be able to play anymore, including those tools. So it completely stops our deck strategy. You really need to get tools down before your opponent uses Quaking Punch, or else you basically lose. Fortunately, you should get an opportunity to do that since they can't attack going first. But yeah, the goal against Seismitoad decks is to just get a bunch of tools down before they're able to Quaking Punch. But we're in a sticky spot and we need to possibly stop them from using Quaking Punch 1 turn, we're going to try out this Garbodor. I know this is not a pretty solution for a number of reasons, but we're going to go with Biosmog. So it does 20 in poison, and then if you flip heads, you also discard an energy. Now, most Seismitoad will use double colorless energy to attack. So if you hit heads on the Biosmog, you could discard that energy, and then they could miss a turn of Quaking Punch, which means you get your items back. And that is enormous. All right, so we have this 1 Garbodor, Plasma Garbodor, Biosmog. I don't know if it works, but we're going to try it out. Why not? Interesting to note as well, this deck will lose to Pyroar most of the time. If you wanted to beat Pyroar, you could actually run a Garbotoxin Garbodor. Yes, you can do that. It sounds very strange, but you get Garbotoxin, you shut off Pyroar's Intimidating Mane, and then you Tool Drop. It's kind of cool. It's a 1-card solution, so if you are worried about Pyroar, add a regular Garbodor and shut off their ability and Tool Drop them. It seems silly, but it actually probably works. All right. I think I've covered just about everything here. Our supporters, 4 Juniper, and then 4 N, then 2 VS Seeker. It's a low number of supporters, but we have the roller skates and the bicycles. Also computer search. This deck is aiming to be super consistent, burn through the deck as quickly as possible, and just get all our tools into play. Right? 3 Ultra Ball to search out our Pokemon, 1 Escape Rope as a switching card, and then a good old Lysander as well. One of the other cool things about this deck, you can kind of skimp on some cards since you are running the Trump card, right? You only have 6 Psychic Energy in this list. If you run out, Trump card shuffles them back in. All right. So there you have it, the new and improved Tool Drop. Can it work? I don't know. Will it be fun? Yes. And that's what I care about right now. So let's check out Tool Drop 2.0 in action with Dimension Valley and Lysander's Trump card. Alright, so first thing I see is a mulligan seeing a Water Energy and a Garbodor, and I think to myself, those are both things I did not want to see. Trubbish is number 1, and then probably Seismitoad EX is number 2. Let's begin with a couple of roller skates. Get a heads on the second one, not bad. And let's go with an Ultra Ball. We can always discard Lysander's Trump card since Via Seeker gets him back. And I guess we'll discard a Head Ringer as well. We might not even have an opportunity to play that against a Seismitoad. Let's drop down Hard Charm, and we're going to try to use this turn to play as many items as possible. Hard Charm, it's probably going to go on one of the Sigilif. I would love Silver Bangle to go on Trubbish. So let's go with a Bicycle and a Bicycle, and we got Dimension Valley. We can throw that out there, and then play an N. Alright, so we got a couple more tools. This was not the worst starting turn. Alright, we got the Dimension Valley, we got a Silver Bangle, an Energy, a Float Stone, a Heart Charm. We got 3 tools down, and that's actually good enough to get a 2-hit knockout on Seismitoad EX. Alright, 60 plus 30 for the Bangle, that is enough for a 2-hit knockout. So we do see a Crushing Hammer. That could have been very bad. Looks like it is a Tails, though. So good for us. And a Juniper. My opponent discards the water, obviously trying to go for the double colorless, but looks like he will miss on that. Just attaches the water energy. And we do have a Trubbish here, and I would really like to knock it out, so let's go for the big Juniper. I need to get a Dimension Valley. I don't want to commit 2 energy to a single Trubbish. Roller Skates will be Tails, unfortunately. And I do have a Muscle Band. We can put that onto that Trubbish over there. Float Stone. We'll put a second tool onto the Sigilif. And Bicycle. Got a Computer Search. Let's Bicycle for another card and see what we get. Oh, Dimension Valley. That's exactly what I wanted. So that works for me. And now I have to decide which Trubbish to attack with. I'm going to go with the Muscle Banded one. And this is actually pretty cool. Look at this. Tool Drop, turn 2, 240 damage. Of course, it's only 120 times 2, but hey, that's pretty sweet in my book. I could have dug a little bit further if I wanted a Computer Search, discard both of my supporters, and just go all in on the Bicycle, but that didn't seem like a great idea. I'm just going to sit with this and see what happens. We got a Quaking Punch. Oh no, the laser. Okay, I woke up. That's very fortunate that I woke up. And alright. Now, this is not as bad as it looks. It's very silly. We have enough tools in play to tool drop. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a 6th on that Seismitoad EX. So let's tool drop for 140, and I do get knocked out by poison, but I can just go ahead and promote. Sigilif, he has Hard Charm and Float Stone. He's probably not going to get knocked out. So, Seismitoad is a pain. I can't play items anymore, but we have enough tools to get 2-hit knockouts, and I think that might be good enough. That Garbodor could come into play at some point too for me, the Biosmog. So we'll have to see. There are a lot of things that can happen in this game now. I probably want to start playing that Juniper. I will have to discard a lot of items, but I probably won't be able to play any of them for a while, so whatever. So I'm going to attach an energy. We're going to attach to the bench Sigilif. You never know when you might use Cutting Wind. That seems worthless on a Trubbish, so let's retreat to the Trubbish without the tool and tool drop. Okay, and we are good to go. We're up 2 prizes. You know, we got the 4 tools in play still. We got a silver bangle on one of the other Trubbish. The thing I'm worried about is we could get worn down eventually. All right, with enough quaking punches, I might just run out of things. I might have to start attacking with things that have tools, and when I do that, it's probably not going to be pretty. I'm going to run out of tools. You know, if a megaphone ever comes down, then I would probably lose for sure. But, you know, for the time being, let us tool drop for another 80 damage. That works for me. Tool drop, and sets us up for the silver bangle knockout with the next Trubbish. Alright, so things could be worse. And keep in mind, this is our absolute worst matchup. This has to be 100% the worst possible deck you could face, both Seismitoad and Garbodor. It is just brutal. So I'm feeling pretty good that we got out to an early lead against this deck. It's kind of funny. This should probably never happen. There we do see Ultra Ball for Garbodor. So we could see Garbotoxin coming into effect. It's funny, that might not actually do much of anything as we do. Oh, we actually see Quaking Punch not knock out my Trubbish. How strange is that? All right, now we have some decisions to make. Tool Drop, the active's only doing 80, so that's not a knockout. So do I want to Biosmog here? I think I'm going to Biosmog. All right, let's do it. Let's go for the Biosmog, and hopefully discard the energy. This could be a huge heads here. Ah, we got tails though, and I was actually kind of hoping that Verbank would be in play. That would actually do more damage, but you know, Dimension Valley is fine, I guess. We do see Computer Search at this point. Probably going to see the Professor Sycamore or Juniper, one of the two, and there is Juniper. Couldn't remember which one my opponent was playing, but fresh hand of 7. But yeah, this Garbodor is going to be annoying. It's going to force my opponent to either play a Hypnotoxic Laser, as a tool does come down into Garbodor. Cool thing here, I do lose a tool, but he puts one in play. So that made no difference. I still do the same amount of damage with Tool Drop. We do see a switch, and he has a laser, but at least we made him burn that Hypnotoxic Laser. He could have put down a Muscle Band, but then that would have added to my damage. Now, I actually do survive. I'm going to get knocked out. Another awkward getting knocked out back into his turn kind of scenario. That's pretty annoying. And my hand is starting to build up with junk that I don't want. And an N, which would also be junk I don't want. So now we have another decision to make here. Do I go for the Biosmog? Or I can actually attach and Sludge Bomb. Those are my 2 options here. My concern is that I'm going to run out of energy pretty soon. I do have the Lysander's Trump card. I'm not particularly fond of playing it at this moment, but it is there. I think I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb. Why not? I can set it up to be knocked out by that Trubbish with the Silver Bangle, because it is doing 110 damage with Tool Drop. So let's Sludge Bomb it up. I don't think I've ever used that attack in my life, but Biosmog into Sludge Bomb, clearly a powerful strategy as the Plasma Garbodor gets knocked out, ironically from poison. It is a poison Pokemon. It is a giant ball of sludge and garbage, and it got knocked up by poison. Go figure. All right, now we're in a pretty awkward game. I have these 3 tools down. There's another tool on that Garbodor over there. But, yeah, this is awkward because I won't be able to play any more tools as long as he keeps using Quaking Punch. But the question here is, can he win using nothing but Quaking Punch? It's only doing 30 a turn. If he wants to put down a Muscle Band, that's going to add 20 damage to my total. So, I don't know. What's he going to do? I guess he's going to Lysander for my Trubbish on the bench, and Quaking Punch seems pretty good. It's probably a pretty good play by my opponent. I can't Tool Drop with the active Trubbish. It won't be a knockout. I can't retreat either. And he could probably play a laser next turn and knock me out. So this seemed like a pretty good move from my opponent. There was no point in just Quaking Punch hitting that Sigilyph for 30. That does really nothing. So good move, bringing up that Trubbish. If he brought up the other one, Tool Drop would have done 110 for a knockout. So now this gives my opponent an opportunity to take out one of my Trubbish, and that could be really big. Really interesting game. So many things going on. Of course, my opponent has control since he is the one using Quaking Punch. My options are very limited, but it's just going to be a matter of, are my limited options enough to get enough knockouts to win? It's very strange. Okay, now, will my opponent be able to knock out Trubbish? There is a Skyla, so I'm going to say, yeah, probably. With this, could probably see Hypnotoxic Laser, we could see a Muscle Band. Both of those would be a knockout on my Trubbish. If this Trubbish survived, I would have been in great shape. This would have been huge. Would have been able to Tool Drop for a knockout, and then I would have had another Trubbish ready with the Silver Bangle and the energy. This would have been like game over. But the Quaking Punch with the laser, that'll be a knockout. So now we got stuff to figure out. Okay, so I am out of energy. I am completely out. Let's see, my opponent has double colorless left, and also I have Dimension Valley in play, so just a single energy, he can X-Ball my Trubbish for a knockout. So I actually need to play Lysander's trump card right here. It's painful giving my opponent all that stuff back. All that stuff just got shuffled back in. I shuffled in probably like 30 cards of my own. But I needed to do it. I have no energy left. So I had to do it this turn so that I could draw an energy next turn. Of course, my hand is absolute garbage. I have about 25 Pokemon tools and then 2 N, both of which will draw me a single card. So this has gone into a weird situation. Floatstone goes on to the Seismitoad, DC on the Mewtwo, so there you see exactly why I had to do what I did. And, oh, Juniper as well. This is ugly. Okay, only an X-Ball though, nothing else too crazy. And now we are in danger, very big danger, of losing this game. Alright, I have the Head Ringer. We're going to go ahead and ring Mewtwo's head a little bit. Make him pay one more. Actually, he won't pay one more because of Dimension Valley, but that's fine. We got a tool. We got a tool on their side, so that's more for us. And also, I'm just getting rid of a card. I think I have to play the end here. I could play Lysander and bring out Garbodor. It has a Muscle Band on it, but I gave my opponent all of his resources back. So he just played a Juniper. He's probably going to have a switch. So I think I need to NS both down to a low hand size. And, I guess we can take some risks here. I can play item cards. I'm going to play the Escape Rope, force either Garbodor or Seismitoad to come out. And this is cool because even though I'm playing an end to one, I have 4 Bicycle, I have 4 Roller Skates I can draw, and I have 5 Psychic Energy I can draw. And if I draw any of them, I can Cutting Wind for the win. But I drew an Ultra Ball. This was also a possibility. But now I'm going to have to pass. All right. Okay, so now the bright side is, number 1, Sigilyph. This one's now weak to Psychic. So my opponent is actually going to Quaking Punch and, oh, Psychic Energy. There it is. The Psychic Energy. And look at this. We're going to Cutting Win. 70 damage. Exactly enough to knock out that Seismitoad EX. And I cannot believe we just overcame a Seismitoad Garbodor deck. What is this world coming to? Tool Drop? Tool Drop just beat a deck that shuts off items. Oh, what world am I living in? So, I don't know what this proves, but Tool Drop, if it can beat Seismitoad, I have to wonder, how good is it? Is it actually a competitive deck? And that is the question that I leave for you. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will have some more for you soon. I am Pooka from the Top Cut, and I'll see you guys next time.